Hello, thank you for tuning in. You are tuned in to The Encourager, and it is 11:28:23, and it is just afternoon my time, noon time my time, so 12 noon my time. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're doing well. Um, and your Thanksgiving was good. I had, I've been going through something that I want to share or talk about today. And as I always say, there's a yin and yang to everything. There's a balance to everything, right? And so it's the same thing with spirituality, of course, right? Because that's what I've been talking about, and that's what others talk about. If you talk about, it doesn't matter who you go to. If you go to a Reiki healer, if you go to any spiritualist, you could go to a tarot card reader, you could go to someone who practices spiritual kinesiology. You could go to a spiritual guru of some sort, such as Sadhguru or Moji. There's all sorts of options when it comes to that. But what you will find out is they will all tell you one thing, and that is they will all speak, well, not one thing, they will all tell you many things, but they will all speak about balance and what it is to be balanced spiritually and what that means. So as a spiritualist, right, someone who's gotten away from religion, and so your guide is not a book, okay, it's not a Bible, it's your relationship with the Creator. Okay, and it's not a book. People who are preaching, they'll tell you that your relationship with God, with Most High, with Divine Source, Abba, Father, whatever you want to call him, okay, Yahweh, whatever you want to refer to him as, they'll tell you that it's a relationship with him and that. But they will never tell you that you can have a relationship with him outside of that book. There are literally hundreds of thousands of supernatural beings in the flesh, wearing the flesh suit. Someone called it a meat suit. I don't know, that seems like a bad thought for some, like disturbing or something. I don't know, but so yes, so when we're looking at spirituality, and you've heard me talk about ascensions and spiritual awakenings and all of these things, well, these things also have, there's a light side and a dark side, right? So these things also have balances, and these are the spiritual balance scales, I guess, the spiritual scales, right? Just like we all have divine masculine and feminine energies, so we have that scale that we have to balance. If we are more feminine than masculine, we tend to get railroaded. People trend, this is for somebody right now. I know it right now, I can tell. So this right here, and when I say I can tell, I mean that's the direction that divine is specifically wanting me to mention at this point in time. That's what I mean. So what that means is if you are out of balance, so you, again, let's go back to the example. So you are too far feminine, right? So too much divine feminine going on. You will be railroaded. People will treat you like crap. You will be an overgiver. You will find yourself in desolate places, in a crowd full of people. Why? Because you're an overgiver. So people use you and then they push you aside. And again, that could be in a crowd room full of people. They push you aside. And so you're left standing there, right? Because you're the super giver, and no one comes to you until they want something, even though they may not realize that is the reason why they're coming to you. Okay? Because you're an energetic being. I've said it before, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. I don't know who quoted that. That is someone's quote. Whoever that person is, energetically, I give you credit for that quote. I don't know who said that originally, or who's quoted for saying that. So, yes. So, when you are a divine masculine, right? Too much in your divine masculine energy. This is what that looks like. Divine masculine, being overly or too much into your masculine energy, it looks like you're a controller. You can become narcissistic or have narcissistic characteristics show up. We all have narcissistic traits because we can all be narcissistic. Again, just like we can all be good or evil, we can all be, right? We can all be either or, okay? So if you are divine masculine, then you are too strong in that side of the energy, on that side of the scale, right? Then you are controlling. You may have trust issues, okay? Those trust issues are probably stemming from something from your childhood. If they're not stemming from something from your childhood, they're stemming from something in your adulthood that, like your childhood wounds, you have not healed yet. Okay? So that's what it looks like if we're too strong in the masculine energy. We're controlling. Too strong in the feminine energy, we're a doormat and people can run over us. And I want to show you how fluid these energies can be and how fast they can change in a blink of an eye. Okay? So, I am naturally in and of myself as I exist in the 3D, in this place, in this space, right? My energetic flow, my earth angel energy, what all of that is, right? It is more feminine than it is masculine. Okay? And I was an overgiver. That's why I know about those tendencies. And of course, being a divine masculine or divine feminine energy more than and that's just kind of like my disposition. So your disposition naturally sits, your spiritual disposition naturally sits in a certain state, a certain place, right? In the military, in the army anyway. I don't know about any other branches because that's the only one I served in. So, and if you did, or your family, parents, siblings, anyone, thank them for their service. Thank you for your service if you served. I am a hardcore believer in supporting our veterans and loving on them and giving them absolutely every avenue of support they need, because there's no greater gift than to lay down your life for a man, and no one's ever voluntarily laid down their life for another person, right? Certainly not for masses and strangers. I'll say strangers. No one's ever laid down their life for, not many, laid down their life for strangers except for Yeshua, Christ, Jesus Christ, and the soldier. Right? And that doesn't matter what army you're in, right? what branch you're in, right? But the soldier, okay? So I honor you guys every day, all day. That's yeah. I thank veterans for their service anytime I see them. I would get up out of my seat and go thank them. So yes, so in the military they have different, military, army. They have different formation or standing positions, right? So you can be at ease, you can be at rest, you can be at attention, right? You can be at parade rest, you can be at, like, there's all these different commands, right? And with every command, it's a different movement to get to that position. Okay? And so when we're talking about ourselves, okay, and we're talking about wanting to balance things out. Okay, the reason why I gave the military example was I was going to speak to something about being at ease, but I don't remember what that point was. I was going to speak to something being at ease because at ease, stand at ease is one of the military commands. So yes. So yeah, I wish I could remember that point. Maybe it'll come back to me before I finish. So anyway, yeah. So balancing act. Okay. So also, when you are in your either one, so there are certain characteristics that are similar or are in both, right? Both masculine and feminine energies, right? But it's so amazing how fast they can switch. That's where I was going. So thank you. So when you're in the military, and let's say you're standing at attention, right? You just got done marching somewhere, right? Right? You do your left or right face, whichever way the platoon sergeant or who's ever directing the platoon or company, whatever it happens to be, right? You turn towards them, right? And then they give you a different command at ease, and you snap to it, right? It's not a slow, whatever, right? If they give you at ease, then you can kind of relax, stand in formation, right? Talk, look around, right? That sort of thing, right? But it's a swift movement. That's how fast we can go from the predominant divine masculine energy to the dominant divine feminine energy, and it happens even faster than that. So what does it look like when you are predominantly a divine feminine? Again, using myself as an example, because I've lived in here the longest this lifetime, so if I have an example to use, it's probably best if I use one of my own, because using an example of someone else's, I might miss details. So I'm predominantly a divine feminine. Okay? So with that, I meet, I didn't mean to say I meet. So I make, myself available and blah, 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 right? I'm going through my life, right? Then one day something happens to me and I get upset. I get angry. I get mad. Okay? Anger, you can be either one of those energies and be angry. However, if you take it to the extreme and function in a divine masculine energy, right? Then that looks narcissistic, that looks stalkish, that looks like someone who needs to either have a straitjacket on or be incarcerated for the rest of their life, or like that's the far end of the divine masculine, when they're upset, when they're angry, when they're bitter, when they're right, that's the far side of that. Okay, you can be a divine masculine, right, and be around someone who puts you in a divine feminine space, and so you become a doormat and you get used by them unknowingly because you have the wool pulled over your eyes, because they're manipulating you somehow, right? Maybe they're keeping your attention with gifts, money, sex, paperwork, right? Documents, right? Right? But we can switch our energies that fast. And we do it every day, all day, without even knowing. When you could be the department head of your, I'm going to use this example. You could be the department head of a certain department in your company, okay? Right? So let's say you're in charge of sales. You're a VP of sales, okay? But the big kahuna operates in a big masculine way, right? He walks around kind of disgruntled all the time, right? And he uses his big stick, right? So he's just not someone who talks, right? He's an angry CEO, okay? But and he's a divine masculine, right? Or at least he's functioning in that energy. You are a divine masculine also. Okay? However, when you go into his office and you have a meeting, your energy changes, and it probably changes before you get to his office because you already know the type of energy that he's bringing. Okay? And so these are things, these are things that the people have to know, because if we know these things, I heard someone say, always go within so that you never go without. Okay? And I like that. I like that. It was a woman who said that. I like that. Always go within so that you never go without. Okay? So this is what I'm seeing. Oh, and by the way, let me mention this now because I will forget, because I'm not yet in the habit of doing it. So Most High wants me to add a contact, a way of contacting me, and so you can email me at the Encourager, just as the YouTube channel name, the Encourager 333. So 3 3s at gmail.com. The Encourager at gmail.com. Okay, that is how you can reach me for your inquiries. Of course, you can ask your questions in the comment section. I'm thankful for my 19 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. People say guys for general, but thank you, ladies and gents. Yes, so continuing on. So when everything happens for an energetic reason, I can't say that enough. Everything happens for an energetic reason, just like every illness happens for a spiritual reason. If you have an ailment, right? Even the source of that. So I had a conversation the other day with a very good friend of mine, and they were telling me about a car accident. I was trying to decide what I should share and what I shouldn't share. They were telling me about a car accident that they were in recently, and they walked away scot-free. And they were hit by 2 cars. They were hit in the front and on the side, and in the driver's door was the first hit that knocked them across the street, and then another car hit them head on, right? And they walked away without anything. And they, in fact, had to use the jaws of life to pull her out of the vehicle, and she wasn't injured. When they were pulling her out of the car, she said, "God protects me." And she said they looked at her and said, "Yeah, he must." Right? So the reason why I share that story with you is for this reason. And this is the revelation that I got. And it was, when you're speaking truth, when it's also revelation to you, when it smacks you upside your head, right? Damn, I must be, yeah, guess that applies to me too. That's being accountable for yourself, and that's helping you to be more authentic. Okay, most people run from those things. Okay, so the revelation I got and shared with her when she was telling me that, I said, because she liked her car and that, and of course she wasn't looking to get another one, but then she was telling me that she got a rental, and it's this SUV, and it's so high, and she's an older woman. She's in her somewhere between 65 and 70. I don't remember where, but she was telling me how she saw the SUV and her son took her to pick it up, and she was so afraid, and how fear was setting in, and then she talked to me about the process and how she went about overcoming that fear and just driving around the neighborhood first to get used to it, and now she says she thinks it's going to be the next vehicle she gets, right? So she went from fearing something right? To loving it and it becoming the very best, or at least something. I can't say the very best. I don't know what the best vehicle she's ever had is, in her opinion. But then, right? And so that's how, not all the way, not always, but sometimes that's how life is, right? And that's the importance of Sadhguru talks about just being air, just being nothingness. He talks about being nothingness because, and I'm certainly not there today. I can tell you for a fact I'm not there. In fact, what I've been dealing with for the last, I don't know how many days, probably since my last post, is the dark side of this spiritual growth process is what I've been dealing with. So dealing with, again, just more spiritual growth, some more ascension work, some more, because that part, it really never stops. It's kind of like learning in life. Once you stop, you die, right? And so with that, what I shared with her about what I was seeing through her story, and we're on the phone with each other, and we're 2,000 miles away from each other. She's on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. So I was talking to her, and she says, or I said, you know something? I said, this is what I see. I said, I see that when something gets old, it doesn't matter what it is, when something's run its course, when something has outstayed its welcome. I remember as a kid growing up, my parents, the woman who raised me, not so much. And again, I try not to say parents because that gives them a place in my life that they really don't deserve. So Judy used to tell me that she used to tell me that I was an extremely happy kid, small kid, right? But then as I got into, I don't know, I really think it's probably around the time that puberty hit that I started to get serious, and my mood, my demeanor, disposition kind of started to change, right? And so the things that run their course in our lives that we refuse to release, these are the vehicles that can take our life. The things in our life, the vehicles, quote unquote vehicles, that are in our life that we keep driving until the wheels fall off, might end up ending our life. Okay? Now, it didn't for her. Thankfully, she still has a job here to do. Okay? But that's not to say, even if she had a job still left to do, that she would not have taken her last breath in that vehicle, right? Because who knows what led up to that, okay? And this is where I'm going with this. So everything that happens because of an energetic event, okay? So, the man who was unfaithful to his wife, it started off with a smile at the office. It started off with a wink. It started off with, oh yeah, I'll grab your coffee for you, right on the way in, right? It started off as that. But you've been driving that vehicle for how long now? Knowing that it's still going on. Not that it stopped, but it's still going on. You're still driving the car. So, we can't complain. And she wasn't, obviously. She was extreme. She was elated. But you can't complain when you wreck the car and then you get injured or unalived. And that's from a spiritual standpoint. So whatever that might be. So you might have a goal to be in a specific field, or to have a specific occupation, or to go back to school for a specific study, or to do something completely out of the blue that is totally unrelated to the 8, 10, 12 years you spent in I don't know, grad school, right? Or whatever, in college, in period, from freshman year on, right? You might have a doctorate degree, 12 years. You dedicated all that time. But you really feel in your heart that you want to be in a band. Your wife doesn't support you being in the band. What are you going to do, buddy? You want to open up that studio, wife? That dance studio. You want to open up that whatever for moms in your neighborhood, right? Business. You see a need for whatever, right? Online, whatever that is. But your husband does not support you. Okay? I've talked about it before, and what really being unequally yoked really means. Being unequally yoked is being out of balance. That's exactly what being unequally yoked is. The religious sect, right? No matter what denomination, they're all garbage, even non-denominational. What they try to do is they try to box everything in when in fact we were meant to live wide open. Okay? They try to box us in, but we were meant to live wide open. Okay? And so when we're looking at how we're balancing ourselves, and again, I say these things like they're so easy to do. Trust me, I understand. I've been through 2 divorces. Truthfully, neither one of them was easy, but they were difficult for their own separate reasons. One was difficult because she left me when I was in Germany. She went with my father, Kevin, the polygamist, for 30 years, who's now serving a 44 to 66 year sentence in a Michigan state prison. So she chose to go with him in 1998. That journey of growth and all that looked very different from the woman who I left many, many, many years later because of the lack of support I felt that I was getting from her. She didn't go with me when I got my kidney transplant. I was up in Pittsburgh for 21 days. She didn't go there. Right? We had more than enough room in our house. She didn't want the guest room being used as a dialysis center. I was putting myself on and off the dialysis machine. Right? She didn't want the room to be used for that, so I had to drive an hour to dialysis and an hour away, an hour back, running the risk of passing out after treatment, because if you're in the medical field or you've dealt with dialysis, you know what it does to the body, and that's a literal 60-minute drive on a highway. But I was protected. She didn't support me, so I left her. Okay? People have always judged me personally, right, for being someone who's quick to cut someone off. But it's funny because in my ability to quickly cut someone off, it's amazing how balanced my energy is, and the people who are telling me that I'm so quick to cut people off are the ones whose energy is fucked up. Right? And looks like manure. Okay? So, again, listen to who you want to, but a lot of the shit that they say don't make sense. So, when they're pointing a finger at you, yeah, buddy, there's 3 of them pointing back at them. That's for sure. So, never, ever, ever stay out of balance for the sake of someone or something. Right? And again, people do it for all sorts of reasons. All sorts of reasons. Status, money, fame, drugs, some other whatever. right? Some other consumable, some other something. I don't know what to call that. Yeah, right. So balancing ourselves helps us to be the very best, purest, highest versions of ourselves possible, as I always say. Okay? But we have to be willing to recognize when things are out of balance and what that looks like. So if you are a doormat today, you are functioning too much in your divine feminine energy. If you are an overgiver today, you are functioning too much in your divine feminine energy. If you believe that the only way that you get to hang around people or get attention is by doing things for people, you are functioning too much in your feminine energy at those times. Okay? If you find yourself being quick to anger, if you find yourself pissed off in the middle of the day for no reason, and you look at your brow and it's just all scrunched up, ask yourself, why is that? You're functioning too much in your divine masculine energy. Why is that? What happened? Someone says something to you, their energy was off. Maybe you woke up and your energy was off. Maybe you didn't get to meditate that day or spend any quiet time by yourself before you got your day started. Maybe you spilled your coffee on yourself in the car. Who knows? Okay? But there is a dark and a light side to everything. There's a dark and light side to your hand. There's a darker and lighter side and lighter part of your eye, right? Everything. Your lips. One lip is darker than the other. Most of the time, the top lip is darker than the bottom lip. Everything is in balance. Everything is about balance. Okay? Everything. Right? Speaking of which, I don't know how many people have thought about this, if you're listening to this, you probably have, about the synchronicities of the body. Okay? And I've thought about this for a long time. So I think about the number 7. There are 7 days in a week. Think about the number 3 and what things comes in threes. So our body, right, is 3. It's a head, a torso, and legs, right? A flower, stem, petals, and bud. I don't know. I know a flower has 3 parts, right? Most everything has 3 parts. I was going to say 3 belts. A belt has 3 parts. It has the belt, right? It has the buckle, and then, right? And then it has the pin or whatever that's called, right? That actually keeps the belt locked, right? 3 parts, 3. It's amazing. If you look at how everything's structured, it helps us to better see how everything is energy and everything was created just from a desire or a thought. Okay? So he said, let us make man in our image. Right? He said, let there be light. He said, let there be the beasts of the field. Let there be the waters of the sea. Right? The flowers of the ground. Okay? He said those things. Right? And so we're able to get to that place. And the light bulb moment I had, and then I think I'll tie it up after this. But the light bulb moment I had during this recording was that everything happens. I shared part of it. Everything happens for an energetic reason. Okay, but when you're dealing with balancing yourself, balancing your chakras, balancing your energy, right? It all starts with the chakras and cleansing your energy, whether that's your house. That does include your house. I can tell you, if you are going through a divorce, if you are separated, if you are, if anyone's moved out of your house, if it recently and it was out of anger or, you know what I mean, hostility, it was under hostility. If Um, it doesn't matter who. It could be the spouse, significant other, kids, a friend. It doesn't matter who it is. You need to sage your entire energy, your entire house, and the room that they were in specifically. If they stayed in the room, right? You need this. You need to cleanse that space, and you can use Palo Santo or candles and other things too. But whatever you do, you need to cleanse that space. You can use Florida water, right? And you can get Florida water at a store. Here in Arizona, they have them at the local. They have it at the local grocery store. Over here, they have Fry's, and so they have it here. They probably have it at Publix. I don't know what other grocery stores are around. Food Lion, Albertsons, and all those places. Who knows? The CVS or Walgreens might carry it as well. But anyway, you need to use one or maybe a couple of those, right? And cleanse your house, right? Cleanse your car, right? When I first started learning about energy cleansing, that's what I would do. I would cleanse my dog. I would cleanse Sadie. I would. She'd try to run, but I would. Because that is your space. Your pets, your children, right? They are a part of you. Protect them. They might think it's strange. That's okay. Tell them to just hold their breath for 2 seconds and close their eyes and just smudge all around their head, right? Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, don't burn their hair. So yes. So anyway, I hope you're doing well. You've been tuned into The Encourager. My name is Nehru. And if you are tuning in for the first time, then thank you. First of all, the channel's created to be to be an enlightenment, to be a help, to be a spiritual guide of some sort. And again, this is as I am on my journey as well. So it's not like I'm not off in a distant land someplace. And yeah, and so yeah. So that's what the channel's for. It's to encourage, to uplift us, to show us who we can be, help us to see that we can be a higher, better, truer version of ourselves than we are today. And that's even if we are the highest, purest version of ourselves that we can be today, right? Because divine is infinite, so his space is infinite, so the galaxies are infinite, so the universes is infinite. Right? That's why so much happens there than happens here. Because this is not the only live planet. In our galaxy alone, this is not the only live planet. Okay? Don't think ET's fake. Don't think it. And don't think that there's a possibility that you're not an extraterrestrial yourself. It's a possibility. Very, very, very much so. It's a possibility. Okay, so that's what the channel's created for. Okay, so for the new listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. I definitely appreciate you tuning in. And again, any comments or anything, I can be reached at theencourager333@gmail for conversation, what have you. Perhaps you're in a situation and you're wanting to know what specifically can you use to rid yourself of blah, 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 right? All the ADHD and all of that, I guarantee you, because there's a spiritual answer for every illness. I guarantee you that can be healed by spiritual means. And I'm not talking about an exorcism, right? I guarantee you, right? And for all we know, they might be the more highly intelligent beings, the ones with autism. They might be more intelligent than you and I who do not have those or have not been diagnosed with those, right? So we might need to go to them for answers and with our questions. Who knows, right? So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying your day. And again, dark energy, or your shadow energy, as it's commonly called. Dealing with your shadow energy is just as important as dealing with your light energy. Okay? So let's take care of the balance. Thank you so much for tuning in. Continue to enjoy your day. Talk to you soon.